After Finance Minister told me, after Finance Minister talked to me lunchtime, please sit it, be seated. Please sit it. माने मैं आपसे करूँ, हाँ विषय, हाँ एक मिनट, मैं 2 दिन से माननीय सदस्यों को बुला रहा हूं, 2 दिन से एब्सेंट थे। अखिलेश जी, मैंने सभी माननीय सदस्यों को बजट पर रात को 10 बजे तक बुलाया। मैं तो कह रहा हूं रात को 3 बजे तक बजट पर चर्चा होती। माननीय सदस्य सदन में रुके, वाद विवाद करे, चर्चा करे। आपके माननीय सदस्य उस समय वहां अवेलेबल नहीं थे। मैंने तो छोटे छोटे दल के लोगों को भी, जिनकी संख्या 10 है, उनको भी 5-5, 6-6 सदस्यों को बुलाने का मौका दिया। और अंतिम समय रात को 10 बजे तक मैंने फिर पूछा सदन में कि कोई भी माननीय सदस्य बाकी हो तो बजट पर चर्चा की जा सकती है। सबने कहा कि अब कोई बाकी नहीं है, हमने सब बोल लिए। तब मैंने सदन कल मैं वित्त मंत्री जी के जवाब के बाद चर्चा करूंगा आपसे। प्लीज वित्त मंत्री जी के, हाँ वित्त मंत्री जी के जवाब के बाद, हाँ वित्त मंत्री जी के जवाब के बाद प्लीज बी सीटेड, प्लीज वित्त मंत्री, हाँ वित्त मंत्री जी के जवाब के बाद, ओके ओके, प्लीज बी सीटेड। आप मैं आपकी सब मान्य सदस्य, मैंने आपको बोलने का मौका दिया, प्लीज विजिटेड। नो, TN प्रतापन जी बैठ जाइए आप। नो, जामिया स्कूल, नो, माननीय वित्त मंत्री जी, फुल प्रोटेक्शन प्लीज सीटेड। हाँ, माननीय वित्त मंत्री जी के जवाब के बाद मैं आपकी बात करूंगा, ठीक है? नो, मौका देता हूं, दिया ना मौका, प्लीज। नो, ऐसे नहीं, मैं सबको मौका देता हूं। थैंक यू वेरी मच। वित्त मंत्री जवाब सुनना चाहिए। थैंक यू वेरी मच ऑनरेबल स्पीकर सर। आई एम इंडीड वेरी ग्रेटफुल टू दिस हाउस। Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and let me thank all the honorable members. I'm in fact very impressed, gratified, satisfied that my longish budget speech has invoked so much interest in this House, and I'm very thankful to the House for it. 98 speakers have taken interest and spoken about it, which means the budget had so much that you could either pick up and comment on, criticize, question, but generate a good debate. So I'm very grateful that 98 participants from this House have contributed and enriched this debate on the budget. I'd like to now broadly go into some of the specific issues. I'm not naming each of the members who participated, but I certainly will answer either collectively or specifically with or without naming the members. So, the size of the Indian economy is something which I'll start with. In 2014-15, sir, our economy was about 2 trillion. And by 18-19, it has reached 2.7 trillion in its size. And by 1920, we have reached 2.9 trillion. And that is the rate at which the economy is growing. And the highlights which I want every one of us to
draw our comments based on is the high macroeconomic stability, the GDP growth averaging about 7.4, averaging, okay, inflation at 4.5%, and therefore central government's liabilities, which is a very important factor, sir, central government's liabilities, and this is as per RBI's estimates, declining from 52.2% of GDP by the end of March 2014 to 49.4% by end of March 2019. So the concentration of most members during the debate has been, all right, you're saying this, you're saying that, but then what are the green shoots? Are there any green shoots at all? Is there a hope? Is the economy going to improve? And by when? Have all been very pertinent questions asked. I want to highlight, if anything, just 7 of those important indicators which show that there are green shoots in the economy. And therefore, I would draw the attention of the House for every such debate that we do, that the 7 indicative green shoots are very important for us to take into cognizance. The first thing is the global sentiment is in favor of India. Foreign investors continue to show confidence in India, and that is why the country has attracted a net FDI of $24.4 billion in April to November of 2019-20. When all of us have started wondering if there are ways in which we can identify if there are any green shoots, even between October and even between April and November of 2019-20, $24.4 billion as compared to $21.2 billion the same period, April to November the previous year, which is 2018-19. The net FPI in April to November 2019-20 was positive at $12.6 billion as against 8.7 only, 8.7 in April-November 2018-19. That is the first indicator, sir. And the second, the announcement of the National Infrastructure Pipeline may further increase the flow of FDI into the country, even for brownfield projects. And therefore, the green shoot is got to be identified, recognized, and its impact all of us can wait to see. So the next one, the third indicator of green shoots, industrial activity is on a rebound. The IIP number in November 2019 has registered a growth, a positive 1.8% as compared to the contraction it suffered of 3.4% in October 19 and 4.3% in September 19. Between September, October and compared to November itself is showing positive indicator. That's a third indicator, sir. And quickly moving over to the fourth. I wish members do pay a bit more of attention, sir. The first one was the global sentiment. Second, based on which the FDI flows have come. The second, sir, is the net FPI, portfolio investments. That's the second, sir. And the third, therefore, is industrial activity as represented or indicated by the IIP November 2000 number. Now, November 2019 number. So the fourth, PMI manufacturing, which is the Purchase Managers Index, that is steadily improving, increasing from 51.2 in November 2019 to 52.7 and 55.3 between December and January. So November was 51.2, December was 52.7, and January was 55.3, and therefore there's a steady climb on the PMI also. So if that's the fourth, the fifth, Forex reserves, foreign exchange reserves, have built up from 413 billion US dollars by end of March 2019 to 466.69 billion as of 24th January 2020, reflecting an increasing confidence of overseas investors in the Indian economy. That's the fifth. Sixth indicator, sir, the gross GST revenue collection, about which all of us do have a lot of concern, but I'd like to assure the House the numbers that I will read now will give you the confidence that GST collection is steadily but only improving. GST gross revenue collected for the month of January 2020, sir, is 1,10,828 crores. During April 2019 and January 2020, the gross GST revenue collected has surpassed 1 lakh crores 6 times, pointing towards an increased economic activity overall. The gross GST revenue collected in the month of January 2020 grew at 12%, collected in December 19. So if I were to go from the earliest month, November 2019 was 6% more than the corresponding months of the previous year. December, 9% more than the corresponding month the previous year. January 2020 compared to January 2019 has grown 12%. So there is a steady growth compared each month to the previous year, and therefore the negative growth rate which it showed only in September and October has been corrected. We are on a positive growth trajectory. And this will obviously bring in greater newer investments to the economy because the performance of the, and it will also reduce the business cost. So that's the sixth green shoot I would like to highlight. Green shoot 7, sir. Reinstating the positive confidence in the Indian economy, the secondary markets continue to be upbeat, and the BSE Sensex increased by 5.6% up to 31st January 2019 over end of March 2019. So 7 green shoots based on which the economy now very clearly is moving forward with also very clear steps that the government has taken. So most often when we talk about the economy, we constantly and rightly refer to the 4 growth engines. 4 growth engines, and sometimes it's alleged that 3 are not working, the government and the economy is moving on the strength of just one engine. The 4 growth engines, sir, just for our information, are private consumption, private investment, public investment, and exports. These are 4 engines which we constantly keep referring to see if the economy is doing well or not. Now I'd like to tell you about the measures that we've taken so that given these green shoots and the measures that we're taking, that the economy is moving forward and the government is constantly in touch with the industry, with MSMEs, with stakeholders of all kinds, so that the steps that we take actually trigger all the 4 engines towards better prospects and better speed of growth. So on investment, I'd like to mention 13 specific steps that the government has taken, and because of these steps and also because of the green shoots, I will give you very clearly that the government is constantly engaged with sectors and also taking appropriate steps. The first one, sir, in December 2019, the Cabinet approved the Insolvency and the Bankruptcy Code's Second Amendment Bill, and the amendment helped in fast-tracking the insolvency resolution process, and therefore, with greater ease of doing business, people are able to perform. Now, I would just like to give you one data related to the IBC, the Insolvency Bankruptcy Code. Sir, as of 30th November 2019, 13,210 cases have been disposed of by the IBC. Around 190 cases, 190 cases, involving claims of around 3.67 lakhs of crores has been sorted out. claims were 3.67 lakh crores. These cases were resolved, and the realizable amount of around 1.57 lakh crores has been realized. So the IBC and its potency and the way in which it's helping to sort out industries which are in distress. I would also like to point out, sir, 11,366 cases involving claims of around 4.74 lakh crores were disposed prior even to admission. So much before it got admitted, because IBC process is so open, people knew how it was going to work. A lot of them have settled for prior to admission itself settling the cases. The realizable amount, which is important, the realizable amount with respect to 4.74 lakh crores is not available, but even if we make a conservative estimate, it will be around 2 lakh crores. So in other words, out of claims of around 8.4 lakh crores, the realizable amount is around 3.57 lakh crores, which is around 43%. That's the kind of realization that the IBC is promoting. In 780 cases, which were for liquidation order, which has been passed involving around 4.52 lakh crores, liquidation value against claim is barely 6.65%. Actual details, sir.
You also mentioned the air tax.
I'd like to give as many facts as you want. 3 hours now notwithstanding. There's a lot of work being done by the government, and I shall utilize my time, sir. I would like you to have the indulgence of listening to the work which this government is doing.
Yes.
So in 780 cases of liquidation order has been passed involving around 4.52 lakh crores. Liquidation value against claim is barely 6.65. Out of these 780 liquidation cases, 547, that is over 70%, were earlier with Board of Industrial and Financial Reconstruction, BAFR cases, and or probably even were defunct. Out of the 780 liquidation cases, 37 cases involving claims of around 8,793 crores were finally dissolved, having liquidation value of 23.06 crores with recovered value of 22.32 crores. And therefore, it is important to realize that IBC process has only expedited and sorted out matters where BIFR sat over for several years, and we've corrected that process. So if that was on the IBC, sir, I said 13 specific points where we are showing what we are doing as regards boosting investment. The second one, sir, is a national infrastructure pipeline which was announced on 31st December for each year from 2019 to 2020 to 24-25. A task force has been formed, and they have listed out all the companies and projects with which we are going to move forward. 103 lakh crores worth of projects have been announced. So I move to the third point, which is a specific, which each one of these 13 are specific measures that we've taken. Third one is a new provision was inserted into the Income Tax Act so that the corporate tax rate which companies pay will be for domestic companies reduced from that high rate at which it was to 22%, subject to condition that they will not avail any exemptions. So rate reduction in corporate rate. And in point 3 itself, second part is in order to promote Make in India, we reduced for new companies which were coming in, new